Hey honeys, it's Tesh here, and today I'm going to show you how to make your own sage bundles for your home. Everything, of course, can be purchased at the grocery store. Of course, we have sage here, we have rosemary, we have thyme, we have bay leaves, and we have rose petals. So the sage, of course, is for cleansing. All of these items are for cleansing, are for banishing. The rosemary is also for bringing in abundance. The thyme as well is for bringing in abundance, bringing in wealth, blocking out any obstacles, making sure that the path and the road is open. The bay leaves does the same thing, but they also do municipal things as well. So the bay leaves will help with headaches. The sage will cleanse the air. The rose petals, on the other hand, this is like an overall perfect flower. These are rose petals from roses that I had last week, and I took them out and put them in the fridge. Just a couple of them that I could harvest for this video, but I'm still going to use them because they're all going to be dried out, and these are starting the drying process, and they're not rotten. They're just drying out, which I appreciate because that's what's going to happen anyway. All right, guys, let's get into making the sage bundle. So of course we have our herbs, and we need cotton yarn, 100% cotton yarn. That's actually very important because, and it can be any color that you want. That's very important because when you're burning it, you want everything to be clear and holistic and all of that type of stuff, okay? So make sure that you've prayed over all of your items. Let me do my prayer now. Okay, so now that you've said your prayer, what you want to do is you want to make sure you have enough. You want your sage bundle to be thick because when it dries, it's going to shrink, okay? So you'll start just putting things together, and I have about 12 stems here of sage, and I'm just going to put a nice little bed of them together, maybe 6. So I have a bed of about 6 of them, and I'm just going to start adding the other herbs. So we're going to add rosemary. Okay. And you want to keep everything uniform and thick. Thyme. And I want to make sure we get the thyme at the bottom and at the top. So you want to spread that out, even with the rosemary. You want to spread it out, but make sure that everything is still facing the same way. So you want your stems at the bottom and everything going up so it can all follow that same pattern. Now with the bay leaves, I'm just going to lay mine down like so. Oh, can you see that? Okay. I'm just going to add as many as I want. Because you may lose a couple while you're wrapping this up. So you do want to stuff it. You know, remember that we're going to be wrapping all of this. Now with the rose petals, you can leave the stems, or you can take the rose petals out and put the rose petals. I'm going to leave the stems on mine only because my rose petals are not big today. And we want to make it so that everyone has their little area. And remember, we want to stuff this as much as we can because we're going to make this, it's going to shrink. So I'm going to put my rose petals in there, and I'm going to start, keep on pushing, keep on stuffing. Okay, guys, as you can see, and And you want to keep a nice grip. We don't want our herbs flopping out and falling. Again, all of our stems are on one end, and we keep the stems. You can burn it all the way to the end, so don't think that you just need the leaves. Look how pretty that is so far too. We haven't even began to wrap yet. Okay. I'm just gonna stuff these in here because I can. Because I can. We are having a rainstorm, but it's beautiful. Okay, now that we have our sage bundle with all the herbs that we want, as you can see, it's pretty thick. I'm still smashing it. Like, I'm putting pressure on it to make it fit in my palm because there's so many herbs that but I'm smashing it and it's gonna shrink. So you wanna make sure you wrap it tight. All right, guys, so to wrap our sage bundle, make sure you're holding it tight. You wanna start wrapping from the bottom. So what you'll do is you'll leave about, I say 6 inches, but I usually do I end up doing about 8 usually. And we'll just wrap tight as you can from the bottom, okay? Try not to get that section that you've left out in there. And you'll want to wrap this as tight as you can, okay? Very, very tight sage wrapping skills. Reason being is as this dries, it will shrink. So you want to make sure you have this as tight as possible. Okay. Okay. Let's see here. Now I've just switched it over and I'm going to take this all the way to the top. Now this sage, of course, is sage that we buy in the grocery store. It's not the normal white sage, so it will not look like this. It will not look like this when it dries. Okay, my loves? It will look different. It will look like dried herbs. They'll get dark and green, but they will still purify and beautify. It's beautiful nonetheless, okay? All right, so I have my long string here. What I'm gonna do on my way back down is I'm gonna try to catch any herbs that I feel might be loose, any little sections I might have missed. Make sure you do it tight. That's why I say use the 100% cotton yarn, because you're gonna be burning it, of course. And we don't want anything catching fire and making anything more difficult than we need. We want everything to be holistic and clean. Okay, we got some herbs here sticking out. And I'm just trying to catch anything that I feel might fall out. Once we get back down to the bottom, wrap the bottom really good and tight, okay? And now you want to tie a knot. Now the reason why you leave this string long like this, okay, so now you tie that in a knot. I'm gonna try it one more time. So I'm gonna do 3 knots, but you don't have to, it's not necessary. You have that, okay? Now, what I would normally do at this point is take my string, cut this one the same length, okay? Now we have our sage bundle with all of our mess. With all of our mess, my loves, all of our mess. Okay, and what I like to do at this point is just tie a small little knot on this side, just so we can give it a place to hang. And then you'll hang this, let's say, on the corner of a bookshelf, anywhere that you feel safe hanging anything like this to dry. And we want to dry this for a few weeks. This is not something that's going to dry within a week. It's going to take some time. So it's going to take a few weeks. I say give it about 2, 3, maybe even 4 weeks. I think the last time I let mine sit for about 4 to 6 weeks before I felt comfortable burning it. And you have your own sage bundle, and it's very pretty. It's very fragrant. You can add anything to this. Oh, it smells so good. Mint, chamomile. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up, and also comment, subscribe, tell me how, leave a picture and show me how your sage bundle came out. You can email me at insightbytesh@gmail.com and send me the copy of, send me a picture of your sage bundle. But happy saging. And in case we go back into quarantine and we can't get our hands on them from the local botanica, or we don't have one, here we are, how we can make our own. All right, guys. All right, I love y'all, and I will holler at y'all on the next video.